Hi everyone, Pablo here from Munich, Japan. How are you? Getting into that festive spirit this time. Habs fans, Montreal Canadiens. We're doing well this year. We're doing great. Let's see if we can keep it up. And in that spirit of exciting times, I have here a most remarkable sword at my home in the UK. This sword is on consignment from a trusted source, and I feel very fortunate to introduce it to you all. Now, the majority of swords at Munich, Japan, as most of you know, come from sort of the Edo period, right? 1600 to about 1868. Sometimes the Muromachi period, 1400s, 1500s, and then also at times Nambokcho period, mid-1300s, Kamakura, so that 1200s era to early 1300s. But once in a while, once in more than just a blue moon, I have a sword from the Heian period. And the Heian period ended in 1185, and Japanese swords took their sort of prized curved shape from around 987 to 1000 AD. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to introduce to you a sword that's 1,000 years old from the Ko-Bizen school. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Ba-boom, ba-boom. Here it is. Just the sheer asai alone is pretty impressive. Look at the size of this sword, right? Now, this is from the Ko-Bizen school, the kingdom of Japanese swords, of course, Bizen province. This sword, from the Nakagojiri to the Kisaki, is about 1 meter long. It's absolutely remarkable. Of course, this is a tachi, because all swords at that time were carried on horseback. So let me open this up. And this is truly incredible. Now, let's see if I can get in there with a shot. He's going back, way back. Now look at the curvature of this sword. Right here, koshizori, the actual swords themselves are wrapping around the waist of the samurai while they're on horseback. Right, the swords are carried like this. I'll take, of course, the tsuka off soon, but basically right here, right, with the edge down, and they're on the horse, and they're drawing from up above and then slashing downwards. Of course, in the Muromachi period, they began to have the swords as edge up and drawing from a standing position. But from this period of time, we're looking at edge down. So this is a tachi. This is a tachi. Now, the wonderful thing about this sword is it's actually ubu nakago. It's not even shortened. Unbelievable. So, the nagasa is 77.8 centimeters. That's from hamachi to the kisaki. That's the cutting edge. The actual nakago itself is 20 centimeters long, making the whole sword about 1 meter long. Now, the curvature, kisaki to the hamachi, is 3.1 centimeters. Huge curvature. Back here in the Edo, in that Heian period, huge curvatures. So right away, the shape. It's all about the shape. It's just remarkable. Look at that. I mean, you could just stare at this sword all day. The shape is absolutely incredible. Now, look at this. I'm going to open up the sword here and get the nakago out, and then it becomes even more apparent. Look at this. Beautiful habaki, by the way. Look at that. Whoa. Isn't this gorgeous? I mean, it's absolutely remarkable. To have a sword, this is not shortened. Like, the majority of swords from this era are shortened by about, well, easily 7 or 8 centimeters. This is the reason why we lose signatures all the time. O suriage. You know, this is tachime, so if it's held this way, The signature is going to be on this side. Now, a lot of these swords at this time were not even signed, so it's not unusual, even though it's Ubu Nakago, to not have a signature. But imagine if this was shortened, which many swords were, 8 centimeters. You would have the sword start around here, the cutting edge, right? Nakago up, and then you lose a signature, and then you lose all that curvature. Unbelievable. I mean, one more time. I'll get some pictures. It's hard to, the photograph's hard to do it justice. Whoa. Okay. Shinogi. A lot of these swords also have a groove in it, but this has a shinogi, which you have to admire because this is really original state. Okay, I'll give you a close-up here of the Nakago. Sometimes you see Kijimomo Gata with a kind of pheasant's leg where it sort of tapers here. This one doesn't have that. Two holes in the Nakago. This second hole may have been, well, I see oftentimes swords with 2 holes in the Nakago. The tsuka itself, the hilt, may have had an extra peg, or they just made a second hole for a subsequent tsuka that came to the sword, and rather than fixing the tsuka to the hole of the Nakago, they just created a new hole in the Nakago to suit the tsuka. Tsuka, of course, is hilt. Now, okay. In terms of condition, the sword's 1,000 years old, so there are some drawbacks to the sword, but not many. But I want to read one passage here from this sword, Swords and Swordsmiths of the Bizen Province. This is by Fred Fumio. Now it says here, talking about the Ko-Bizen school, do not expect to view a blade of this period as it was first forged by its artist. One must keep in mind that it will be 1,000 years old, more or less, and will probably have been used in combat, most definitely, sharpened and restored on several occasions. Metal will have been removed in the process from the sharpening stones, and poor restoration will have changed its shape. Some may also have been in fires and hence re-tempered. Okay. He does go on, so the reason why I'm reading this to you, because I'm going to show some of the points of the sword that, well, over time it's been compromised to some degree. But I think completely, understandable and acceptable considering the age of the sword. Okay. It does talk about, in this very good book on the Bizen schools, that there's a deep curvature, small kisaki, kokisaki, meaning small kisaki. And he also talks about the hamon being kogunome with some sunagashi and kintsugi. And there's actually some beautiful kintsugi, kind of like dark lines. They call them golden lines that run through the hamon. Okay. Now the 3 representative smiths of the Ko-Bizen era are, of course, Tomonari, Masatsune, and Kanehira. They didn't attribute this particular sword to one of those smiths. They just kind of said it's from the Ko-Bizen school. So if they're not sure which sword smith they think the sword is by, they'll just group it in part of the Ko-Bizen school. There's surely less than 1,000 Ko-Bizen swords left in the world. It's quite a remarkable piece of history. Okay, so let's get to this blade. It's very long, so I have to watch myself here. Now, okay. The hamon, of course, is going to be very close to, it's a koguname, so it's small waves right to the hasaki, right close to the edge. Okay. Now, this is the one area, I'm going to get to this point right away, where the sword has suffered some damage. And I've seen swords much, much younger than this that look worse. But can you see just a small divot in the blade right in this area? Okay, you'll see just a little bit. Not much, but there's some. And obviously this part was oxidized, and the polisher removed the rust. So you'll see that it's still quite wide. So that the motohaba here is about 3.2 centimeters. That's the width from the cutting edge to the back of the spine or the mune. And it just dips a little bit here on the sword because of this one area. But, 1,000 years old, what can you do? Sometimes it happens. If it didn't have this, the sword would be worth so much more and likely to be Juyo Token as well. Because it's very rare to have a sword that's Ubunakago, not shortened. So just that alone, just the curvature is fantastic, right? So I'm going to try and pick up the hamon a bit. See, there's some nice width there. The hamon is not too close to the cutting edge. And just keep on going. Around this area, in the monouchi area towards the top third of the sword, you'll start seeing a big line of kintsugi. And right there, can you see that dark line there? Woohoo! That is unreal. It just goes right through, right there. Can you see that? I can't bring my finger over there because I'm balancing this very long sword, but that is one of the real highlights of this sword. And there's also, there it is. I mean, you can see the kiseki and the boshi. So the boshi is the hamon inside the kiseki. Sorry, let me just get the light on this. But you can see that it's still, the fact that it has a, there it is, okay. See? That's the temper line inside. Now, what happens, you see, these swords get used in combat and then the tip goes right into, or, the tip gets broken, then breaks into the hamon, and effectively the sword's useless. But you can still see the boshi. And that's why this sword is Tokubetsu Hozon. Big reason why. Right? So, yes, everything is close to the edge. This is what you would expect. And Fred Fumio, oh, there's that. There's a great shot of that. Honestly, that's just killer. Awesome. Love that. But, this is a healthy sword. Apart from that one area, okay. But, I can offer the sword very reasonably priced. Considering its age, what a piece of history to have in your hands. There's some, well, it's itame hada with some mix of mokume, which you see in the Bizen tradition. A little bit of ohada as well. Okay. Actually, that kintsugi's on the other side too here. So both sides. Arms getting tired. Arms are getting tired. Oh, wow. Okay, so here's the other side. That divot, by the way, is only on the one side of the sword, not on this side. So, I just went to the optometrist yesterday, by the way, for my daughter's eyes. She needs to wear glasses for reading. And I found out that one of my eyes is far-sighted and one of them is short-sighted. So I basically I'm using one eye when I look far in the distance, and one eye when I'm looking close. Subsequent videos in the future may have me wearing glasses. Anyway, that's the side. So I want to be straight up about that one area, so that you make an informed decision. But honestly, we all have our scars of life. This happens to be the one that this sword has. So you can see a little bit of the dip, but it's, yeah, okay, better if it wasn't there, but I wouldn't. It doesn't change the fact that this is a sword of great admiration, and the fact that it has ubu nakago. Look at that beautiful dark patina. I know I've mentioned this before, but Japanese swords, they let the nakago oxidize over time. So a very big point of a Japanese sword is to look at the nakago. Nice, smooth, dark patina. Yummy. I mean, really beautiful. Wow. Okay. So let me just place this. Stay. Tokubetsu Hozon. Here's a certificate for you all. Okay. Now this says one tachi. So this is a tachi. Mume. Ko-Bizen. Ko-Bizen. And Nishaku, go soon. We get into the go soons, that's long. This is the measurement, of course. So Nishaku go soon Nanabu, 77.8 centimeters. Curvature 3.1. Did I mention this? 3.1 curvature from the hamachi to the kisaki. I know I mentioned that point. But if we take from the nakago jiri, right here, all the way to the kisaki, going back again, right? From here, and you draw a line all the way up to the kisaki, 4.8 centimeter curvature. Awesome. I mean, really awesome. This is just an absolutely beautiful Japanese samurai sword. And one that, I mean, will be treasured by anyone who decides to take this piece on as part of their collection. A lot of my clients like to have swords from different time periods, and it's a rare opportunity to have a sword that's this old, and in all circumstances is in actually very good condition. So Tokubetsu Hozon. It is here in Europe. I can ship to Europe. I can ship most anywhere internationally as well. So if you have any questions, please let me know. It's always a great pleasure to serve you, and yeah, thanks for all your enthusiasm and great spirits. It's been a terrific year, and I can't thank you enough. So happy holidays, and we'll speak soon. Cheers. Bye.